Hi everyone, welcome to Raise to Rise podcast, a place where we discuss bite-sized wisdom nuggets with easy-to-follow practices to live a better life. Raise to Rise podcast is supported by Ayurvedic Seva. Ayurvedic Seva is an herbal dietary supplement line set out to change the industry by dedicating the company to quality, safety, and holistic approach on making the wellness journey safe, healthy, and natural. If you want to start adding some natural herbs in your life, then head over to ayurvedicseva.com and use our promo code Raise to Rise for 30% discount. Once again, it's ayurvedicseva.com and use our promo code Raise to Rise for 30% discount. I am your host, Mital Patel, a parenting junkie, Ayurveda enthusiast, and an advocate of conscious living. Hi, Mehnaz. Welcome to Raise to Rise podcast. So excited to have you. For those of you who knows Mehnaz, welcome. And for those of us who doesn't know her well, including me, because we just got connected through Facebook in one of the entrepreneurial group, and we just got clicked on a very first Zoom chat. And this is a very instant. We decided to do a podcast because the work that she does is so inspiring, and I feel like we all need that in today's stressful situation. So without taking a further ado, I am going to have Mehnaz introduce herself. Mehnaz, thank you so much for being with us. Can you just introduce yourself to our listeners?
Thank you for having me, Mithil. I just love talking to you, and I'm sure this is going to be an amazing conversation today. So I'm a fine artist and a color psychology specialist.
Wait a second. Color psychologist. Did you guys hear what she just said? That's what drawn me to, it just drawn me towards her, because I never heard this whole name, color psychologist. And I was so fascinated with what she's doing. And so that's why she's here. And go on, Mehnaz. Sorry to interrupt you. Go on.
Color psychology is really interesting because it's such a basic part of us human beings, but it's a topic that is not spoken about a lot. And I think the number one reason which it is suppressed, even though there is research out there, is because colors are trends and marketeers are using colors to their benefit. So if we bring in color psychology, I am going to be ignoring all the trends and what the market is saying. And, market is always about making money. Oh, wow. So that is why I think this is not a topic that comes up front. We all know that where the market is not going to benefit, where the trends are not going to benefit, the big players are not benefiting. Nobody talks about that topic. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those topics.
Wow. How did you get into this?
So that's a long journey. I'm going to start, my oldest is going to be turning 13 this year. So when I had him over 12 years ago, being this new mom, being in an arranged marriage, still figuring out this relationship with your spouse.
Oh, yeah. It's hard.
Yeah. And in a new place. And everything, hormones, crazy hormones, they make you anxious. First child, I think all moms can relate to it. It was a long period of time. I wanted to be happy, but I was not able to make that shift in my mindset. And over the years, I realized I also went through a lot of seasonal depression. So I used to live in upstate New York at the Canadian border in Buffalo, which is Niagara Falls. In that area, and winter is harsh there.
Too cold.
It is cold. It is, but it's very gloomy and depressing. I don't mind the cold, but when the sun doesn't show up, that is what just destroys my life, honestly.
Yeah.
So I know that I have seasonal depression, the winter blues, and I know how to counter them now, thankfully. But all of that, and then one fine day, I just picked up the brush. I started painting again, and I realized that colors can change my life. Wow. And so you have, all of us have our gifts. It's intuitively for some of us, but then of course you have to research. You have to find the scientific facts, what is working. And for me, it is really important to back everything. I have even though I paint now and I have the screen, I have a computer science background. I have a computer science, I have a master's of science in computer science,
Oh,
and I have an
wow.
MBA. So I work
You're
very
tech savvy.
analytically and
You are a tech savvy.
but so that things, I need to know the science of things also, whether it's colors, whether it's cooking, whatever it is, you need to know the science about it. So this is why color psychology works great for me.
That's amazing. I mean, I would have never known what color psychology is unless I came across you. So, and you're doing a great job on your page too by educating us, and it's wonderful to see all those colors. Some colors, it's like I don't even know where that came from. So while we're talking about color psychology, can you explain a little more about what exactly is color psychology?
Yes, Mithil. So like you mentioned on my page, the purpose of my brand and me putting this education out there is to see colors not as mere decoration and to see the true value. Colors actually have a lot of power, and they're just so innate to us human beings. And if we go back in time, I know you talk about Ayurveda all the time. It's ancient, right? It's been there for generations and eons and eons. Similarly, colors are so innate to us human beings because in the ancient time, there was no language. So how did people converse? How did they know what to get, what's good to eat, what's not safe? It was all the language of colors.
All about colors.
All about colors, yeah. So it's not a decoration, but it just breaks my heart, when I see women just buying something or wearing something for the sake of decoration without understanding how it can actually benefit them. To the extent that I believe, and I'm so passionate about this topic.
Oh, yes.
It can change your life. It can make your relationships better. It can positively impact your happiness, your children, your spouse, everybody.
I love that, how you said about children. I really want to go into that, but not right now. I have so many questions for you. You won't believe how many questions I have for you for all this color psychology. So you just said like how it can, like you had seasonal depressions and how it helped you. So can you give us a little insight about like how a color psychologist can help us in order for us to come out of that, the gloomy?
Of course, yes, definitely. So color psychology in terms of definition is the study of how colors trigger emotions, feelings, thoughts, and behaviors in our body and our mind. So our mind and body both. So what happens is, let's make it a little boring. Let's look at the science part of it. When you look at an object, it actually has no color. So, technically speaking, color does not exist. It's just a phenomenon. So when you look at an object, it reflects light back into your eye, and your eye sends that as a neuro impulse signal to your brain, and your brain processes it as a certain color.
Right.
Now, when the brain processes it, it triggers an emotion, and it happens because all of this processing in the brain is done in that part where our emotions are processed, our hormones are processed, our metabolism is processed, and that is why metabolism is connected to hormones and our entire endocrine system. So that is where the color is also processed. So anytime you receive a color, that is, you receive that light into your brain, it triggers an emotion. And again, scientifically, we know that every color has a different wavelength. So every color in the visible spectrum, that is the rainbow we see, has a different wavelength. So depending on what number was sent to our brain, that's how an emotion will be triggered. And this is why every color will trigger a different emotions, will make you feel differently because of that number of the wavelength.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So how can you benefit from a color psychology specialist now? For me, it's really important. And the best analogy I like to use is thinking about a nutritionist. Okay. So let's assume, what's your favorite dessert? Tell me, like, if you didn't have to worry about calories and it affecting your body negatively, what would you eat every single day?
Do you know that triple chocolate meltdown thing?
Oh my gosh.
the chocolate's coming out of it, and then the hot, and then there is an cold ice cream next to it, and you just eat that together. Yum.
Oh my God. So just listen to that description. Oh gosh. So you like that, that chocolate cake, but it's not good for your body, right?
For sure.
It's your favorite. It's not good for your body. So this is why we have nutritionists, or like you work in Ayurveda, you come in and you help people, or a health coach comes in and helps people. So when you work with clients, you don't tell them, oh, I'm going to figure out your favorite dessert, chocolate cake. And that's not what you tell them. Because it doesn't matter. It is their favorite food, but it's not good for your body. So nobody cares about it. It does not matter at all. You tell them what's good for their body, what's going to influence their body in a positive way. You're not telling them about their favorite food or delicious stuff, what's good for their body. Similarly, a color psychology specialist comes in and does not tell you what your favorite color is. Because the first thing that comes to people's mind is, oh, it's just color. I mean, like, why do we need somebody to come and tell us about colors? It's
For
just
sure,
colors, right? Ever since I was born, I know about colors, and I've been playing with colors in elementary school since kindergarten, and mixing colors, and I know my primary colors and secondary colors. Fine. I don't come in and tell you what your favorite color is, because that does not matter. What I tell you is the influence of a color, again, on your mind and your body, what emotions it's going to trigger, how it's going to make you feel, what sort of thoughts are going to run in your mind, and what sorts of behavior or actions you're going to show. So this is the role a color psychology specialist plays. And sometimes it's very tricky. Sometimes your favorite color might not actually be benefiting you.
Oh, so it's just like, oh, I like to drink cold water, but in Ayurveda we say, we have to drink warm water and not the cold. It doesn't matter how much you love to have iced water. So just like that.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
200%.
This 200%. Is so amazing. So it doesn't matter that I tell you that my favorite color is orange.
So, see, when I'm working with my clients one-on-one, now this is a little secret. I don't even ask about their favorite color.
Wow.
Of course, we have other ways to get into what colors they're connecting to. But favorite color, now on my Instagram, I do ask this question a lot, but I've spoken about this, that context is really important. I'm not wearing a red lipstick today, but red lipstick is my favorite lipstick to wear. It just gives me that. It just makes me happy, gives confidence, everything. But that does not mean that red, people who see me all the time, they know I wear red lipstick very often. That does not mean that red is my favorite color. That's the first assumption people will have, but that's not important, because I like red as a lipstick, but I'm never going to paint my walls red. I mean, I'm not even going to have any red in my decor. Somebody can. It's not that you can't. We'll have to figure out the balance. So context is really crucial. So I always had a problem with this question. Now, I'm putting myself in trouble by saying all that, because I do ask when I first start conversations with people, I like to know what their favorite color is and how they're feeling about a color. But when we're going deep, we definitely talk about context. Favorite color for what? Because context
matters, right?
Color, it changes the meaning of the color.
Wow. So it changes color, the meaning. I like that. Like, so orange could be my favorite just to have an orange phone case color, but wearing orange could be a different, giving me different emotions.
So another factor would be proportion.
Okay.
Quantity you're using the color. So orange from your phone case to your top, your shirt is not going to be that different, but to your walls is going to be
a big difference, right? That's, oh wow. That makes a whole lot of sense, because then we're around that color a lot, and then oh my gosh, this is so incredible to know that we have someone who can guide us on choosing the environment. So do you specialize in like home decorations and things like that, or do you just
Yes, I do interiors. I help my clients figure out the colors for their interiors, depending on their archetype. So it's a very personalized consultation. So we figure out their archetype, or whoever is sharing the space with them, their spouse or children, and then we recommend not just a color palette to their need. The palette includes shapes, patterns, texture, finishes, materials, everything. So for example, certain people, I am attracted to shapes that are very structured, geometric, square, sharp lines. Not everybody is. I'm going to guess you are attracted to shapes that are more rounded.
Yes. How?
We were having a conversation the other day, and we came to know, you mentioned the colors and your light, airy personality. So more rounded. Somebody would be more into curves. Even geometric shapes, some are very distorted and abstract kind of geometric, some are very structured. So I need a very structured pattern. So what pattern is going to work for you? Florals, is it a very busy floral? Is it a light floral?
Oh wow, there's a lot.
Again,
huh?
finishes. Yeah, there is a lot. And then all sorts of finishes, texture wise. Even we talk about your archetype helps us figure out if you're going to be a minimalist or you're going to be a maximalist. So it's not about one is better than the other. It's certain archetypes. And also perfectionism is a big topic on Instagram and social media. I know, and people's like, don't be a perfectionist. That's being a procrastinator. And I am really against that because I am a perfectionist and I'm not a procrastinator. So it's a very certain archetype who is a perfectionist, and you can't take it away from them because that's who they are. That's what makes them stand out.
Yeah.
So we figure all of this out. And the best part is that my clients have their color palette. I also give them a list of all the items they will be needing in their space because we're designing the interiors. Then it's up to them. They want to buy everything in one day or they want to keep the color palette in their purse. And whenever they're going shopping, if they see something, they can match it if it's going to work in their space or not.
So cool.
So yeah. The best part is what it does is you're conscious about what you're bringing. You know how it's going to affect you. And you're conscious when you're shopping. So you're not shopping things that you don't need. You're not wasting your money. You're not wasting your time, your energy, returning things. And you're creating a good footprint on the planet.
Yeah, that is, I like that. I think I really need that the color palette for my. I mean, not that I actually honestly don't do any shoppings, and I just about colors. Like it just came. I was all into like vibrant colors and everything, but now after looking at your page, to be honest, let me tell you the truth. I was like, oh my gosh, like there is such thing as like, I can't just have like, I don't need vibrancy through color all the time because it can also affect me in a negative sense. And so,
I love that point, Nicole. That's such an important point. We have to remember that colors have positive meanings and negative meanings, just like anything on the planet. And the point you just pointed out, why you can live in that state of vibrancy all the time. Us human beings naturally don't live in one state of emotion. Throughout the day, every couple of hours, even a minute, so many times in an hour, we change our emotions. Sometimes we're really excited, we're happy, then we're okay, we're sad, we get really emotional throughout the day. So we need to live in a mix of emotions. So we live in a mix of colors because we know colors trigger emotions, and we need to have a balance. So if somebody has a lot of pink in their space, pink is a color that comes from the higher, longer wavelengths in the color spectrum. So we always balance it out with the shorter wavelengths. Now I'm going to go and say like, oh, pink, balance it with blue. So like, why balance it with blue? So the scientific reasoning is balancing the longer wavelengths with the shorter wavelengths. And we need that balance. So we're triggering all sorts of emotions. We have all sorts of support going on.
I love that. So it's like we're bringing science, not just, like a color aspect, because since there is no awareness, like, it's not like we all know about this, and it's it's a great job that you're doing, like, by creating the awareness and sharing. No, I really appreciate what you're doing. Well, because you mentioned about certain colors and preferences, could you explain why does these color influence us? Like, how every color, like, so is it just because of the wavelength and emotions?
Yes. So because it's triggering that emotion in your mind, in the hypothalamus, that's where the influence, that's how it's affecting.
So that's why every time we have all these different color giving us different emotions and stuff.
Yes.
So
it will be both ways. Being in a space, yes. So color is an instant booster. Being in a space, you'll start feeling differently depending on what colors or what vibe is going on there. Basically, the colors create the vibe. So mostly in interior design, it's called mood, but mood is just a part of it, and mood is always temporary. That's really important to remember. Initially, we see the mood, but it's always temporary. What is going to be the effect over time, and how it's going to change your behavior? So what is important here is we don't see emotions. We don't see mood. Okay. Assume in the middle of winter, on a really it has been snowing for the past 3-4 days and the sun didn't show up in 3-4 days, you're going to be really gloomy, upset. That is the mood or the emotion, the feeling, gloomy. But you don't see this. What you see is you not getting out of the covers, still in bed all day and not wanting to do any chores. We see actions. So our focus when I design or figure out colors for a client is to see the emotions in their space. So we talk a lot about behaviors. How do you want to behave? How do you want your family to behave in this particular space? Yeah.
So when just out of while you were saying that and about the colors and everybody has a different preferences. So do you also guide your clients when the husband has a different choice and the wife has a different choice? Like, how do you come up with like a middle option?
Yes.
So do you guide us doing that too?
Yes, so that becomes really tricky when you have two very different archetypes. But I think if you're two people living together, you have something in common. You just need to find it out. So I see this all the time with clients. They just don't know this husband is bringing his things, the wife is bringing her things, and there's a big mix, and you're just not sure how to mix together personality again. But for sure, when two people live together, there is something common between them. So we figure all that out, and we also see if there's a space in, let's say, for in your home, the living room, both of you are using the living space. So we might come on, somebody might have to compromise, like the wife has a bigger say. So we'll go with the color palette in the wife's choice, but we'll go with the design palette in the husband's choice. So the design palette was all the structures, the shapes.
So we both get to put our inputs.
Yes. So you both get it. But then your husband could have a home office. So we'll just make that purely his. So throughout the day, he's getting somewhere where he is 100%. And then in this part, we have compromise. Then in another space, we could make the wife compromise if the husband uses that space more. So we mix it all together.
So it's like, it does help us being more conscious as well. So it's like a part of our conscious living when we're together, and we all get our own spaces at one point in the house.
It is. And that's, I think that's how we got connected, because the word conscious living, it's all about choosing color choices. We're being conscious, being intentional, being purposeful.
Being intentional is what, and that's what we need, it's the intention is what, it's the intention is what, brings the awareness, and then the awareness is what, leads us to living consciously. I love that. Mehnaz, if you don't mind me, can you share with our listeners, like, what are your current projects, or how are you, like, what's your current take on how are you serving others?
So I do one-on-one client consultations. That's the main thing that I'm doing these days. I paint too, but my one-on-one consultation is the biggest thing. Like I said, these are not recommendations that I can tell, okay, Mithil, go get a light blue, it's going to work. There are millions of light blues out there.
Of course.
So getting into the exact, now of course we don't have access to all the millions of colors, but still we know colors have undertones and they have bases, they have some blacks and grays mixed into it. So finding out what's going to work exactly for you. For example, grays don't work for me at all, to the extent if I'm in a space which has a lot of gray palette going on, and if I'm spending 2 to 3 hours there, I'll start feeling sick. I'll get dizzy,
I think I can add something in there, because last time when we had a conversation, I could tell that you were a kapha. So from an Ayurvedic perspective, I can connect that color psychology right now, because the gray is kind of like dullness, and so you being a kapha is definitely not going to work. So I can tell, like, why those emotions are arising when you're seeing those colors, and I love that part, because Ayurveda says the same thing about what the colors are telling you about the emotions and stuff. So yeah, I like that, how everything connects at the end of the day, and it's all about the oneness. Everything's one. So yeah, I like that. But yeah, go ahead with the other offerings. So you're doing consultations. So is it just you're helping with interiors, right? So that's what you
Yes,
said.
we use color palettes, design palettes for the interiors, and these are one-on-one consultations. And I would love to offer your audience a free consultation. You can send me a message
Ah.
anywhere on Instagram, Facebook, or on my website.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you will add those in the show notes. It's
Yes,
Mehnaz Khan
yes.
Studio everywhere. And yeah, you can definitely do a free consultation. And the process, we go through a process which helps you see how to use color intentionally.
Guys, I would take this opportunity and go for that consultation, because the wisdom that Mehnaz has about colors is amazing. It's incredible. Even if you just just go follow her and you'll find out. I think I listened to few of your stories, the old stories about the blue color, and that just hooked me up. And I think I also I told you, like, I am so addicted to your feed, because the amount of knowledge that you're sharing there, and it's very practical knowledge also. So for those of you who don't know Mehnaz, I would highly recommend following her and getting that free consultation in your pocket. And who knows, you never know, that maybe that's what you all like really need at this point, looking at how uncertain our life is right now. So
Yes.
we all can benefit, because colors do add the spark that we need. And right now, many of us are like really feeling the lows of the current situation, and they're not able to cope up with it. So just get in touch with Mehnaz, and get the spark and the life in your life right now that we really need. One more thing, Mehnaz, because
Yes.
I also do talk about a lot of parenting, and I
Mm-hmm.
know my listeners must be like, you did not talk about anything about kids today. So, but I really want to do something with you with the next. We'll do a next episode with, if you can help us about kids rooms, because I'm sure you also help your clients with their kids room. Do you do that?
Yes, yes.
So you
Kids
do
room
help.
are always the trickiest because the kids are growing and
Mm-hmm.
they still don't know so much about themselves,
Right.
and it depends what age your child is. I
Mm-hmm.
always say give grace to your children. If they're really young, mostly up to 10, you have control over what you are going to create. So that's fine. But if your kids are a bit older and teenagers, they're going to experiment a lot. Now, a really important point here. Um, Teenagers experimenting, and I was having this conversation with another person, and she mentioned, like, during her teenage she had a lot of black in her dorm room, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what she brought in, and now she cringes thinking about it. So this is a sign for you as a parent that there is something going on there in their life. Not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily something happening that you need to be scared of, but
Mm-hmm.
we all know teenagers going through puberty and
Right.
understanding, growing, becoming adults, understanding how
Mm-hmm.
to lead life on their own. So these are all signs. Why are they making these choices, these awkward choices, living in a black room, which is going to
Mm-hmm.
turn depressing? So if they're experimenting, you let them experiment, but you
Mm-hmm.
keep an eye, take these signs like there is something going on, so you can
Mm-hmm.
have better
So we can have
conversations
a
with them and you
conversations
can
with
guide
our
them. Yes,
kids openly. That's
definitely, definitely.
that's a very great point to to be mindful, and just monitor what our kids,
True,
what are
true.
they experimenting with, and what are their preferences at that
Exactly.
stage, because we really need to, of course we can't, we can't tell them what to do. I feel like let kids choose their own, and give give them the consequences, and that works better. But at the same time, as parents, we can always monitor and help them manage their emotions.
Yes,
So
yes. Anything, Middle, we can have a whole episode on this topic,
for
but
sure.
my belief is that um, accepting what's going on with them,
Hmm.
giving them grace, and then having that
And then having
conversation
conversation.
is super important, rather
Yeah.
than just giving it your opinion, because we parents do all that all the time.
Yeah, we
Why
we
you're
do that
wearing
all the
this? Why are
time.
you doing
Yep.
that? So first you accept it,
Hmm.
and then you have a conversation
Hmm.
about
And
it.
and
So
that's a part of our conscious living, right? We
it
need to
is.
learn how, accept everyone as who they are, and then we don't have to impose anything to them. We can clearly have conversations, and then they can make their choices. So it's all about that is all conscious living is. So I love that you really help parents with that. So yeah, definitely having more conversations with you about that. But before I let you go, I also wanted to, so there is one more last, can you just share your handles again? It's Mehnaz.
Yes, it's Mehnaz Khan Studio all over Facebook, Instagram, and my website.
There you go. So everybody, you check it out. I'm going to leave all the details in show notes. But before I let you go, I have a very last and a very special question, which I never shared with you before too. So the question was, and it's my son's question. My son likes to know, if you were a type of a food, what would you be and why? I have to ask this question, otherwise he'll be like, you did not ask the question to her.
Oh my God, that's a tough question. That's the hardest question. What type of food would I be?
You're a color specialist. You tell me.
I think it'll be a mango.
Why?
Because it's yellow, and yellow brings me a lot of joy during the winter. So let's put it that way.
I was gonna say, if I have to choose mango, I'd be like, oh my God, because I love mango, and and I did not notice that maybe it's because of the color that brings me joy. Because mango always brings me joy, no matter, like, because sometimes we even get, normally I grew up in India, and in only summertime we used to get mango, but here in America you get mangoes like other days also. But
which never tastes good.
Yeah, mangoes make me so happy. But now I know it's because it's yellow. Thank you for your
a good composition of the taste, the sweetness, the color. It definitely could be. Yeah.
I really love that.
It's a summer fruit, so I would give it a little bit more thought. It's a summer fruit. If it was a winter fruit, I would say 100% it's bringing joy that way.
The color-wise. That's amazing. Thank you, Mehnaz. We really appreciate your presence and your wisdom that you shared with us. I hope people go and come to you, and you change many more lives, and spread the awareness the way you're doing right now. I really appreciate. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Race to Rise podcast. We would absolutely love to hear your thoughts about today's episode. Please let me know you have listened to this episode and fill me with your aha moment. Share it on Instagram, tag me with hashtag Race to Rise or at Race to Rise, and I would love to share those to my stories and shout you out there. I would also love if you can subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. It's our brand new podcast launch, and we have some bonus giveaways going on for the top raters and reviewers. Also, I would love to send you my 7-day parenting journal absolutely for free. All you gotta do is leave me a review in the iTunes store, take a screenshot, and email it over at racetorisepodcast@gmail.com. Again, take a screenshot of the review and email me at racetorisepodcast@gmail.com, and I will send you the 7-day parenting journal absolutely for free. Thank you so much for being the active listener of this podcast. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you for raising your consciousness and rising as joyful beings.